How to Break Free from Mental Fallacies, Part 2. Xiefeng. March 3, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Life shines in attachment, while life perishes in attachment. Merging life and life into one is a mental fallacy in life. Life is merely a brief moment in the journey of life, but the unfolding of this fleeting moment determines the scenery of the next journey. Due to the lack of understanding about the mysteries of life and time, people mistakenly take life as the entirety and ultimate meaning of life. Consequently, they perform tragic dramas on the stage of life. The material world is the manifestation of the non-material world, and life is but a manifestation of life. When people are captivated by the appearance of the material world and become attached to the pursuit of material wealth, status, and fame, they miss the opportunity to uplift life and, in turn, sow the seeds of negative consequences. When a fish freely roams in rivers, lakes, and seas and discovers delicious bait, it rushes up and swallows it in one gulp, losing its freedom and becoming a meal on the angler's chopping board. Similarly, when people relentlessly strive for material wealth, power, status, and honor, and eventually satisfy their desires, they are like fish that have swallowed the bait without realizing it, indulging in self-satisfaction. However, they have already become the meat on the devil's chopping board. Not to mention historical and foreign figures, let's take a look at the individuals in modern and contemporary China who have gained fame in the fields of wealth, power, and honor. Aren't they all fish that have swallowed the bait? Now look at ordinary people. How many of them have been or are still madly devouring the bait like fish? To make one's life brilliant, one must be attached. Attached to making money, gaining power, achieving status, acquiring fame. One can also be attached to one's marriage and family, nation and country, political parties and religions, ideologies, truths, and ideals. As long as there is attachment, life can move towards brilliance. However, when one is attached to something or a certain belief, the flower of life withers, heading towards exhaustion and decline. Consider a couple deeply in love. When they cannot bear to be apart, feeling like the world would collapse without each other, and believing that life has no meaning without their partner. He wants only to marry her, and she wants only to marry him. This is called attachment. This kind of attachment brings about a deeply romantic and sweet period in their lives, reaching the pinnacle of a passionate love affair. However, as time passes and the erosion of daily life begins, they gradually realize that their attachment has become a binding rope. The longer this feeling persists, the stronger it becomes. Because of excessive attachment, they neglect all the other scenery along the way. By the time they grow old, they realize that they have missed countless opportunities to appreciate breathtaking scenery. Beneath their smiling faces lies a sense of helplessness and endless lamentation. An old man descending from a mountain tells young people who are excitedly climbing up, "There is nothing worth seeing at the mountaintop. The view is even better down below." Of course, the young people do not believe him and think, "This old man just doesn't know how to appreciate the scenery." So they keep climbing, eventually reaching the mountaintop, but also growing old. And what do they find? The old man was right all along. There really isn't anything worth seeing at the mountaintop. Consequently, one by one, these people who were once young and climbed mountains start descending. As they see the younger generation climbing with excitement, they tell them, "There is nothing worth seeing at the mountaintop. The view is even better down below." However, how could the young people believe the words of the old folks? Thus, this story of climbing the mountain continues to unfold from the distant past to the present and will continue into the distant future. In the end, we will discover that especially serious people will die due to their seriousness, and especially attached individuals will die due to their attachments. Nutritionists will die due to nutrition, excessively clean people will die due to cleanliness, those desperately seeking longevity will die prematurely in pursuit of longevity, those who aspire for political power will die due to political power, those pursuing wealth will die due to wealth, and those scheming to attain power will die due to power. The list goes on. So, Where is the best path in life? Take things as they are, associate with others by following naturally come-and-go relations, act in accordance with one's intrinsic nature, and take advantage of opportunities as they arise. Let go of attachment. This is the best path in life, and it also aligns with the path of the sublimation of life.
走出思维迷思3
Breaking Free from Mental Fallacies, Part 3. Xiefeng. March 4, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Life is enriched through possession, while life withers through possession. When people travel by train, they buy a ticket, enter the station, board the train, travel for a distance, disembark, and exit the station, simple and effortless. Rarely does a passenger want to buy and possess the train they are traveling on, nor do they wish to stay on the train indefinitely. Why don't passengers want to buy and possess the train? Because it is unnecessary, and ownership would become a burden. Likewise, people do not desire to possess commercial airplanes or large cruise ships because they are merely using them for one journey. Perhaps they will only use them once in a lifetime, so why invest time, energy, and money to own them? However, the fallacy lies in the fact that despite knowing we are merely traveling through this earthly realm for a short period, where everything on earth is not worth possessing, and even if possessed, it will eventually have to be relinquished, why have humans tirelessly racked their brains over what to possess? Why are they even willing to pay the price of their own and others' lives to possess illusory dreams along their journeys? Let's assume we have 1 million in cash. Is it better to use that 1 million to buy a house? Or to temporarily rent someone else's house and use the remaining money for other purposes? For example, renting a house for 1 year with a rental payment of 20,000 yuan. Renting for 50 years would amount to 1 million yuan. From the perspective of life, buying seems better, providing a sense of security and becoming capital to flaunt to others. However, from the perspective of life's meaning, renting is, of course, better because by paying 20,000 yuan annually, one would still have plenty of money left to invest in other fields. This investment may generate more wealth, not only enough to pay the annual rent of 20,000 yuan but also leave a surplus. In other words, after 50 years, one would still have 1 million yuan in hand, while buying the house outright would leave one penniless. Some may argue that buying a house preserves its value, while money in hand may depreciate due to inflation. However, this is also a fallacy. Houses depreciate every year and may even collapse, while money in hand has the possibility of both depreciating and appreciating. Therefore, we do not analyze or speculate on these contingent factors. What we are analyzing now is whether a possession is worthwhile. The mistaken belief of striving to possess something is a human fallacy, also the root cause preventing humans from living a heavenly life. People feel secure when they possess something. It satisfies not only their practical needs but also their psychological desires. Consequently, the goal of their entire lives becomes to possess more land, houses, cars, status, wealth, honor. Moreover, they desire to possess people, such as in a marital relationship, where each claims ownership of the other. This is my man, this is my woman, this is my child, and so on. If you were to ask someone, "What do you possess?" and they answer, "I have a villa and a luxury car. I own a company and a business. I have 200 acres of land. I have 30 cows. I have an iPhone," people would look at them with envy, respect, and even admiration. However, if the answer is, "I have nothing," people would look at them with disdain, contempt, and even scorn. When the mistaken view of life, and values becomes a general principle for the masses, mistakes turn into correctness, fallacies turn into truth, and heaven turns into hell. When a person dedicates their lifetime and energy to possessing more and more things, they lose the qualifications to appreciate the artistic charm of life and obtain a ticket to heaven. Heaven is heaven precisely because every life possesses nothing. It is a state of having nothing. Paradoxically, it is because every life possesses nothing that it achieves the result of possessing everything. When we possess something, we feel secure, and the more we possess, the more fulfilled our lives become. Our vanity attains maximum satisfaction. However, precisely because of our possessions, we are alienated from heaven, and this is the withering of life.
人生八悲，
The Eight Sorrows of Life. Xiefeng. April 3, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Ancient wisdom states that there are three great sorrows in life: losing one's father in youth, losing one's wife in middle age, losing one's child in old age. I do not fully agree with this viewpoint. First, these three sorrows seem to be unrelated to women themselves. Second, these sorrows are not inherent but are created by human cognition and culture. My perspective on the sorrows of life is as follows. First sorrow: lack of maternal love in infancy. Second sorrow: lack of playmates and insufficient opportunities for joyful play during childhood. Third sorrow: lack of guidance on being a human during adolescence. Fourth sorrow: lack of love and the absence of establishing beliefs during youth. Time and energy are expended on the pursuit of marriage, family, and materialistic desires, including food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. Fifth sorrow: stumbling in midlife. Sixth sorrow: being abandoned by family in old age. Seventh sorrow: learning the Bible in adolescence, Buddhist scriptures in youth, and the Quran in old age. Eighth sorrow: delving into cultivation methods and techniques, supernatural abilities, and metaphysics. If one of these sorrows exists, life will be filled with regrets. If two sorrows exist, life will be filled with resentment. If three sorrows exist, life will be filled with pain. If four sorrows exist, life will be filled with defeat. If five sorrows exist, life will be filled with chaos. If six sorrows exist, life will be filled with hatred. If seven sorrows exist, life will be filled with suffering. If eight sorrows exist, life will be a prison. I have the supreme method that can resolve these eight sorrows. By following this method, the sorrows can be overcome.
与其道德说教，不如更换程序。
Instead of moral preaching, change the program. Xiefeng. June 25, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Program development always surpasses moral preaching. In the 18th century, England transported convicts to Australia to alleviate domestic prisoner overcrowding and develop the country. The British government hired private ships to transport the convicts. Prior to departure, the ship owners were paid by the government based on the number of convicts on board. In order to maximize their profits, the captains crammed as many convicts as possible onto the ships, resulting in overcrowded cabins with poor air quality. Since the ship owners had already received their payment, they disregarded the life and death of the convicts. As a result, the death rate on these ships reached as high as 12%. One ship, for example, carried 424 convicts, of whom 158 died during the voyage. To reduce the mortality rate, the British government dispatched government officials on each ship to supervise the transportation process. They also set mandatory standards for the convicts' living conditions and provided doctors to accompany them. What happened next? In pursuit of their own interests, the ship owners bribed the supervising officials and doctors. Those who refused to accept bribes were either thrown into the sea or killed by other means. Consequently, the death rate among the convicts remained high. Eventually, the government changed the payment procedure. Instead of paying based on the number of convicts boarded, they started paying based on the number of convicts safely delivered to Australia. As a result, the ship owners made every effort to protect the lives of the convicts, improve their diet and living conditions, and actively seek medical treatment for them. Consequently, the convict mortality rate dropped from 12% to 1%. This is the effect of changing the program. If a certain state is persistently bad, then one should not rely on moral preaching to solve the problem. Instead, consider changing the program. Once the program changes, the state of chaos immediately disappears. For example, in the matter of elderly care, there are moral expectations for children to dutifully care for their parents, with sayings such as, "Filial piety is the foremost of all virtues." However, what has been the situation for thousands of years? Despite loving parents having been around since ancient times, who have seen filial children? Since this is the case, why not change the program for elderly care? Options such as using real estate for retirement, group retirement, hotel retirement, nursing home retirement, retirement pension, and so on still fail to alleviate the suffering of elderly people, especially those without financial means. In fact, elderly care is easily to be solved. Regardless of whether the elderly have money or children, they can all live their later years happily in the second home life mode program created by Life Genuine. Another example is the issue of marital relationships. Few people have been able to handle marital relationships well over thousands of years, and the problems and pains that arise from managing these relationships are too numerous to list. So why get married and start a family? Does not getting married and starting a family mean one cannot live a good life? The second home mode of Life Genuine effortlessly resolves this problem. In this mode, there are no marital relationships, and without marital relationships, the troubles and confusions caused by relationship management disappear. By changing the program, the worries and pains are eliminated. Similarly, in the realm of raising children, reality reminds us that due to the flawed perspectives on life held by the majority of parents themselves, the values, life, and worldviews they pass on to their children remain incomplete. This brings endless confusion and setbacks on the journey of life for the next generation. Therefore, raising children in an environment where they are nurtured and educated by perfect teachers in their spiritual realm frees parents from the labor of raising children and allows children to establish correct values from a young age. Life Genuine has successfully proven this through 10 years of practice. Regarding the issue of funerals, people now say they can't afford to die. Why can't they afford it? Because burial plots are expensive and funeral costs are too high. The easy solution to this problem is the Life Genuine funeral system created by the Life Genuine community. This funeral system not only makes death affordable but also allows people to depart gracefully and elegantly. As for wars between nations, for thousands of years, wars between countries have brought great harm to the people. Does humanity really lack the knowledge and wisdom to solve this problem? Not at all. Global unification and the disappearance of nations, allowing people to freely move around the world, create a sense of interconnectedness. Who would fight whom? With the massive military expenses gone, no more soldiers and destruction eliminated, wouldn't that be wonderful? This is merely a matter of changing the program. What problem in human existence cannot be solved? Floods, droughts, epidemics, social unrest, corruption, wealth disparity, and other issues. Can they be solved through moral preaching? They cannot. But by changing the production and life mode programs that humanity has followed for thousands of years, everything can be easily resolved, bringing about favorable weather, social stability, and everyone's happiness, joy, freedom, and well-being. By observing the outstanding figures throughout human history and the wise and capable individuals of today, it is evident that only Deiform Buddha of Life Genuine can truly lead humanity into the desired era of peace and happiness. Even if the Ziwei Saint were to descend, he would still be unable to surpass Deiform Buddha.
做人之事一
Being a Human Knowledge 1. Xiafeng. October 4th, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. The more chaotic and morally corrupt the era, the more important it is to maintain one's integrity. In a society with complex and confused values, it is crucial to uphold one's integrity. In times of social unrest and anxiety, it is even more important to stay true to oneself. When facing personal adversity, oppression, poverty, and illness, it is essential to maintain one's integrity. Being a human is not about being a good or kind person, achieving status or wealth, seeking the approval and praise of others, or becoming successful in the future. It is about living with dignity, peace of mind, prospects and being truly human, not like a ghost, demon, monster, devil, or beast. I will first list the following 28 principles as the fundamental knowledge for being a human. Never break your promises. Keeping your word is the foremost duty of being a human. Once you break your trust with someone, it is difficult to restore it. A single act of betrayal can have lifelong consequences. Maintain a sense of gratitude, regardless of who they are. If someone has shown you even the slightest kindness, remember it forever. As a result, always respect and honor your parents. Express gratitude to teachers, masters, and mentors. Cherish the bond of siblings, and be thankful to anyone who has helped you in any situation. Be grateful to the opposite sex with whom you have had intimate relationships. Although it may be impossible to fully repay a favor, always remember it and treat those who have helped you with utmost respect, using gentle words, humble gestures, and a warm expression. Do not argue with elders. Do not bully those who are weaker, poorer, or disadvantaged. Do not ridicule those with physical disabilities. Do not bully widows, widowers, or individuals with disabilities. Prioritize the well-being of the elderly and women when there are advantages or benefits in the current situation. Do not waste even a morsel of food. Do not compete with superiors for recognition. Use only what you earn through your own labor and never exploit even the smallest advantage. In a group, listen more to those who are more important than yourself and speak less. Expand outwardly and do not compete for profits with siblings. Do not disrespect deities, gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints. Do not enter someone's home or bedroom without permission. Do not pocket anything found on the ground. Do not interfere in other people's affairs unless asked. Never intrude upon others' privacy, including refraining from reading their letters and phone messages, and avoiding engaging in gossip. Especially avoid prying into the privacy of close friends, family, and romantic partners. Do not voluntarily report the crimes of close relatives to the authorities. Do what you are capable of doing and do it well. Do not undertake tasks beyond your ability. Do what you truly enjoy from the depths of your heart, rather than being led by vanity and money. Have at least 2 sincere friends who can mutually support each other. Adapt to local customs and do not cling stubbornly to your own opinions. Avoid having peculiar tastes and demands. Learn to accept things as they are. Don't scheme and strive for grand achievements, and only accept rewards when deserving. In any situation, at any time, prioritize harmonious interactions with others. Do not engage in theft, robbery, gambling, drug trafficking, rebellion, deception, abduction activities, and organizations. Never attempt to change others. Act in accordance with your nature. Associate with others by following natural come-and-go relations. Accept things as they are, and take advantage of opportunities that arise. Obey laws and regulations. Even if 99 out of 100 people disregard the law, you must persist in adhering to it. Foster independent thinking and entrepreneurship from a young age. These 28 principles are the basic guidelines for being a human. Being a human is difficult, sometimes feeling helpless in the world. But while the body may be beyond our control, our hearts are within our control. As long as we adhere to these basic principles throughout our lives, gradually we will distance ourselves from suffering and calamities, moving towards good fortune and auspiciousness, and lay a solid foundation for our future cultivation, enabling us to embark on the path of becoming celestial beings or Buddhas and embarking on a spiritual journey towards heaven. 做人之事2 Being a Human Knowledge 2 Xiafeng October 4th, 2022 Edited by Qin Yu Observe the social upheavals, rampant epidemics, frequent disasters, widespread hunger, and various movements throughout history. People were deeply involved, yet there were always those who remained unscathed because they upheld the integrity of being human. If you don't believe in karma and consequences, then go ahead and commit evil acts and join forces with the wicked. If you believe that heaven does not spare anyone, then learn the knowledge of being human and become a true human being. Do not define or pass judgment on others. Only the divine can discern right from wrong, and the Tao judges our merits and demerits. In the grand script of universal life, human cognitive abilities are insignificant. If we define and pass judgment on others, we may make grave mistakes and create great misfortune. Do not believe hearsay, unless verified personally or scientifically, regardless of the source of information, even if it comes from authorities or experts. Simply listen to it without fully believing it. Especially in times of confusion and moral ambiguity, what is attacked and insulted may be the most noble, and what is praised and admired may be the most vile and despicable. Respect life and do not harm any living beings. Especially, do not harm snakes, turtles, or cranes, and above all, do not harm human lives. Avoid borrowing money unless absolutely necessary, especially avoid going into debt for consumption. Minimize accumulating debts of gratitude. Debts of gratitude are like divine shackles. Once incurred and left unpaid, they will bind you for life. Endure humiliation if necessary, but do not kneel easily. Once you kneel, it will be difficult to stand again. Never speak or act in a mystical or mysterious manner. Respect facts, respect science, respect logic, and respect spiritual perception. Absolutely refrain from doing things secretly or in a sneaky manner. Conduct affairs according to established procedures, without relying on bribery or connections. Do not exploit legal loopholes, do not exploit the weaknesses of others, and do not violate the arrangements of heaven. Focus on accomplishing tasks rather than engaging in idle chatter. Discuss matters more and talk less about people. Do not attack the homeland, the people, or the ancestors. Stay away from popular figures to avoid being influenced by fleeting trends. Do not tie yourself to the bandwagon of pity just because someone else is pitiable. Do not fabricate false facts. Regardless of where or when, and regardless of the person involved, honesty is always the best policy. Regarding private matters between consenting men and women, do not stand on a moral high ground to make judgments or follow the opinions of others. Cultivate good speech and refrain from generating evil speech. Let everything progress naturally and reach its proper conclusion. Avoid forcing things. Forcing goes against the natural way and will inevitably sow the seeds of calamity. Admit when you don't understand something instead of pretending to know. Once you pretend to know, you will be laughed at and troubled. Complete what you start and bring closure to relationships with others. Without completion, you will end up adrift like a floating duckweed. The world changes, calamities persist, dynasties rise and fall, and unexpected events occur. The journey of life is filled with crises and risks. It is impossible to escape the heavenly net by relying solely on human wit and intelligence. Only by upholding the integrity of being human do we have hope of navigating our life sailboat through stormy waves and reaching the shores of our ideals.
做人之事3
Being a Human Knowledge 3. Xiafeng. October 7th, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. It is necessary to read the book without words, which contains all the knowledge of being human. Reading the book without words is a way to communicate with nature and have a dialogue with the greatest creator. The knowledge accumulated by humanity, apart from books that reveal the mysteries of nature such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology, is mostly garbage. The knowledge in fields such as politics, economics, sociology, history, and humanities distorts reality or provides short-sighted explanations of certain eras or phenomena. They are not sufficient as the basis and reference for being human. For example, the popular trend of success literature in recent times is nothing but harmful. Even philosophy, which is a mental game, is not a necessary condition for being human. All things and phenomena in nature are books without words, and all the joys, sorrows, separations, reunions, and changes in human society are also books without words. Reading the sky, the earth, people, animals, plants, insects, and microorganisms, as well as social phenomena, is reading the book without words. People may deceive each other, but the book without words will not deceive. Therefore, it is best to listen less to what people say but rather listen to what the universe and all things are saying. Embrace your fate. Nature presents an array of forms, and the inherent nature and trajectory of each life form are predetermined from the day of its birth. Throughout countless millennia, no life form has altered its fundamental nature and life path. Although humans possess thoughts and creative abilities, fundamentally they are no different from the countless other life forms. From the moment of birth, each person's life's merits and demerits, fortunes and misfortunes, and life's trajectory have already been predetermined. Trying to change this destiny is equivalent to choosing one's parents, the era of birth, and the environment, which is entirely impossible. Therefore, accepting one's destiny is the best choice. Accepting one's destiny leads to contentment, understanding, adaptability, happiness, and even spiritual enlightenment. Not accepting one's destiny leads to impatience, anger, resentment, setbacks, hardships, and calamities. Follow your nature. Following your nature means doing what you genuinely like. However, people generally cannot follow their nature due to considerations for the needs of those around them, supporting their families, social responsibilities, legal constraints, public opinion, and more. Those who can truly follow their nature are few in number. Nature is Buddha, and following your nature is being a Buddha. Nature is celestial being, and following your nature is being a celestial being. What does it mean to follow your nature? If you desire to own a luxurious mansion and have several servants serving you, it is not following your true nature but rather succumbing to vanity and desire. It is following your ego and conforming to society's values. To follow your nature means that if you want to sing folk songs on the street in the middle of the night, you can do so. If you want to commute naked on a scorching hot day, you can do so. If you want to stay away from someone, you can do so. If you want to get close to someone, you can do so, and so on. Do not imitate others or take them as your role models. Never try to learn, imitate, or become someone else. Each person is unique, and no one can ever become another person. Those who excel possess innate talents and missions that cannot be acquired through imitation. Therefore, be yourself. Learn to create. Everything we see is created. Creation is the source of joy and vitality in life. True sweetness and happiness do not come from material pleasures, but from spiritual and mental enjoyment. Creation is the primary source of spiritual and mental enjoyment. Therefore, strive to create something out of nothing and make efforts in creation. Look at the super-celestials of the Celestial Islands continent. Each one of them is skilled and adept at creation. Even the infinite vitality they manifest is a result of their creative thinking. Do not chase after trends. Trends may come forcefully, but they will eventually turn into bubbles. For example, the trends of buying houses and cars, farmers rushing into cities, or college students striving to become civil servants, these endless waves of trends. If one's life does not settle down and instead constantly chases after trends, their life will be reduced to a bubble. Accumulate energy throughout life. To achieve great ideals, one relies on abilities rather than luck. To ensure a worry-free life in terms of livelihood, clothing, housing, transportation, aging, and illness, one relies on personal abilities. Depending on the nation, the government, the system, or future generations for support is a gamble in life. All reliance on the external world is a gamble in life. Relying on the moral and ethical values preached by human culture to achieve one's beautiful ideals is an illusory and beautiful mirage. Therefore, lifelong energy accumulation is essential. This energy is not primarily material or meticulously cultivated social connections, but rather one's personal character, inner depth, and survival capabilities. Maintain lifelong diligence. As long as one is alive, whether in their 30s, 40s, 70s, or 80s, they should never have the idea of, I can enjoy life now. Instead, they should maintain a mindset of, I hear the Tao in the morning, and I die content in the evening. Continuously learn, explore, study, and contemplate, continuously elevate one's life's realm to deeper, broader, and more profound multidimensional time and space. Maintain an open mindset. Due to the accumulated influence of history and culture in our consciousness, we instinctively consider certain knowledge as truth. In eras when women bound their feet, men wore braids, and virtuous arches were erected for married women, we considered these practices as natural. In certain specific periods, we may even consider unmarried cohabitation as a crime. Such distorted perceptions tell us that what we staunchly defend may be the most ignorant thing. The era is progressing, and humanity will eventually break free from the ignorant prejudices and move towards civilization. What is universally accepted today, when viewed from the perspective of future civilization, will be recognized as incorrect. What is considered right today may be found to be wrong tomorrow. Therefore, it is necessary to maintain an open mindset as a human being. Do not feel the need to condemn or attack present irrational phenomena or events. All knowledge representing civilization may appear irrational and unreasonable during periods of ignorance. Decades or centuries later, people will realize that those thoughts and things considered wrong today are, in fact, the most reasonable and rational phenomena. The summaries provided in Being a Human Knowledge 1, Being a Human Knowledge 2, and Being a Human Knowledge 3 offer initial guidelines and standards for being human. Knowledge about being human is extensive, ranging from cultivating upbringing, self-cultivation, and self-restraint to the enhancement of EQ, IQ, and SQ, ultimately enabling one to navigate through the trivialities of daily life and complete the journey of life perfectly, leading to the sublimation of life to heaven. This is a profound subject that requires further contemplation and deepening of the connotations and extensions of being human. May everyone strive for perfection as a human being and make the most of their journey in this human world.
痛苦者进不了